This is a picture I took many, many years ago, and over the years I've taken, thousands of the kids, and many of them I've painted. And back, oh, 10 to 15 years ago, I found a book, 60 Minutes to Better Painting, by Craig Nelson. Fantastic book, and he talks about the value of doing a lot of small 60-minute paintings, only allowing yourself about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and moving on, and trying to capture the most important info and don't get caught up in the details. And I learned a lot from those exercises over the years. And I believe the painting I'm going to show you, which I painted of this scene, Amber found about a week ago, a few days ago, when we were putting up the Christmas tree. And she found it in a box, and I've got them scattered all over. But this painting, it was done in 2006, looking at the date. And I'm pretty sure this was one of those paintings, looking at how brushy it is and loose and things, which is fine. But I do see things that obviously a lot needs to be cleaned up, but things that I just didn't understand, I don't think, at that time. And one of them that I talk about a lot when people are asking, the intricacies of learning how to paint, is the shadows, the form shadows, and the cast shadows aren't just dark, which is the way I have them there. I mean, that almost looks like I just took black, a dirty color paint, and put that in there. And of course, it's not very well formed or anything. But again, I don't think this was one I was trying to do a finished piece to hang on the wall while it was sitting in a box. So what I did, this is the first time I've ever done this. It was a very interesting exercise for me to do. This is before I started putting varnish on my painting, so it allowed me to repaint over this. So I actually did that. And it's very interesting for me, as well as anyone else that is wondering, what's the difference between, pretty decent and getting better, making things look more vibrant, more alive. And that's what I did. And I didn't spend, that did not take that long because the shapes and things were actually pretty accurate. But I did paint a little. I pretty much painted over. There's not much of this painting, maybe 20 or 30% of this painting still showing here, probably more than that. There was things I did not touch, but I've reworked some of the distant bank, but of course the water and the grass, the main thing I did was the kids. And there's a little bit of a harshness here with some of this, and I love the brushiness. I like staying loose. I don't want it to look super detailed. But there's some of these that stand out. This basket's too bold. There's things that's just out of shape. So this was me painting on it. And there's more life to this one. I would say there's more life because there's things going on in the shadows. And I don't make the shadows so harsh because it's a beautiful bright day, and a lot of times to make it look brighter, I need to go whiter, white, very light, dramatic, and then turn it into dark shadows. That should make it look like the sun's really bright. But in my mind, this looks brighter because the sun is so bright, it's illuminating the grass, and the grass is reflecting into them, and it's not nearly as dark. And I know that sounds weird. You would think that you would want to make the form shadows darker so that the lights look lighter, but sometimes the effect, and it should show in the picture, you shouldn't have to invent it, but to me this reads like it is such a warm, beautiful it's direct sun day that it's just everything's illuminated, even the shadows. But to me, it adds more life. I've, of course, killed the basket a little bit more, reshaped a few things. But I wanted to share because it is an interesting, it was really interesting for me to do that, to go back and look at something I did before. That's, I mean, it's not bad. It's just, I probably just didn't allow myself to spend much time on it. But the shadows is what jumped out to me, how just muddy and dark they are. And you don't want that. You want color and temperature in those. But this is a nice little find that she had, because it's a nice scene that, you know, means a lot to me. Kids going to the pond with me to fish. But it's definitely one that I'll now start working on the wall. I'm going to get that tree going up through there, and I'm going to, now that the Christmas commissions are over, I'm going to get back to painting a bunch of those. So anyway, just thought that was interesting. Wanted to share.